This is London calling in the overseas service of the British Broadcasting Corporation.
I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
The pocket battleship, Graf Spee, which has been for many weeks preying upon the trade of the South Atlantic, has met her doom.
Mother dear, I'm writing you from somewhere in France, hoping this finds you well.
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
Hang up the washing on the sea green line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just love along.
Das Oberkommando der Wehrmacht gibt bekannt. Ein im Atlantik operierender deutscher Flottenverband unter Führung des Flottenchefs Admiral Lütjen im Seegebiet um Island auf schwere englische Seestreitkräfte. Das Schlachtschiff Bismarck hat hierbei einen englischen Schlachtkreuzer, wahrscheinlich Hood, vernichtet.
The sinking of the Bismarck was due to the cooperation of the RAF with the Navy. And Rodney, which did some pretty work with her 16-inch guns.
This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. But it is perhaps the end of the beginning. But the Japanese High Command had declared that a state of war existed with Great Britain and the United States.
The German Navy, so proudly built up by that smug strategical genius, the Führer, is slowly but surely being wiped out. Now the Scharnhorst, the 26,000-ton battleship, has gone to the bottom. A not unusual result of action against the Royal Navy.
Led by a powerful British escort, the main body of the surrendered Italian fleet is transferred from Malta to Alexandria.
Signed the act of unconditional surrender of all German land, sea, and air forces in Europe to the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Back across the China Sea for the last large-scale surrender at Hong Kong, where today warships of the Royal Navy ride at anchor in the harbor.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Gallop Major, and welcome back to the port. This evening in the UK time zone, we'll be focusing on the Collingwood, the new Tier 6 British premium battleship. So, if you're here for something else, come back Friday. Otherwise, this stream will be purely focusing on this ship. Now I have the ship already purchased, however I have not played or put anything on it. So the first thing that we'll obviously be doing is we'll be taking a look through the stats, some of the things that Wargaming says about the ships, and we'll also take a look at the armor scheme and other things like that. We'll also put mods on, pick a command build, and then we'll take her out for a couple of games and just see how we do. What do we learn? Is she a good ship? Is she a bad ship? Is she a difficult ship? Is she an easy ship? Some people may have already formed their opinions, and although I appreciate it's fair enough to share your opinion, let me take this stream in order to form my own, and then towards the end of the live stream I will then give my own personal opinion, my own personal conclusion and advice, I guess you could say, for this ship. So we'll be aiming for about a 2-hour stream, so we should be streaming until 21:30 hours, but we might push it a bit more until 2200 hours as the wife is at work. I'd like to say hello and welcome to everyone who is here, and obviously in the chat we have Admiral Crib and Jeff Dave so far, but anyone else feel free to join in with the chat. And as we go along, feel free to give the stream a thumbs up. It obviously helps with promoting the video and also gauges your interaction, I guess you could say. So first up, I'm going to keep the headphones off. We're going to take a look into the ship. So let's bring up the stats and stuff. I think the first thing that I'm probably going to do, I'm just going to jump over to the overview. The reason being is the overview is very simplistic, I guess you could say. It's very easy to cover it off. So first of all, it says it has big guns. It has 419mm guns. So that's about, say, 16.5-inch guns, give or take. 406s would be 16-inch. Another 25mm on that would be 17-inch. So obviously you can see that we're not making it all the way up to 17-inch guns. So yeah, it's about 16.5-inch, give or take. She's got the reloaded trait. She does have a base reload of 26 seconds. We'll have to see how that really compares. Compared to a couple of my other my ships, that reload does initially seem quite long, but I have to bear in mind that all those other ships already do have commanders on them. Most of those command traits usually do bring the reload down, so I'll probably want to put a commander on and see what that comes down to. Hello, IKWay. Hello. British boats are great at getting dev struck. Hello, Major. Well, thank you, IKWay. Much obliged. Now, she's got barrage as a trait. Because she comes with main battery reload booster. We'll look into that a bit more as we come to looking at the consumables that the ship comes with. There is a little bit of a blur down there on the bottom left regarding the ship, and it basically is just a Nelson, but with 419mm guns. Apparently year of design is 1942. I doubt the British ever really did take this design seriously. In fact, I kind of suspect it was a back of a fag packet drawing on what could we do if we did this. I highly doubt this ever would have become a design, and I'm very surprised they put a date of 1942, considering the Nelson class were built in 1920s, and considering that after the Nelson class, they've started building things like the King George V class and the Lion class. I wouldn't really understand why, after those two designs, which had been laid down, some of them built, especially the King George V class, why someone would go, you know what, let's take 2 steps back and rebuild some more Nelsons, especially considering how much the British hated the Nelson turret arrangement, with Q turret not being able to fire forwards. It wasn't necessarily too much about not being able to fire it backwards. It was more that they couldn't bring the full armament to bear directly over the bow. So yeah, that's some of the issues with that. I think a lot of people are going to want to look into the armour, so we'll take a look at the armour next because it just makes sense. And what you're seeing is, I guess, it's quite obvious. We're seeing a lot of green. A lot of 25 and 26mm plating, whereas you'll probably be more custom to the armour schemes on some of the other British battleships, which have, for example, Nelson, the central bout and the deck is covered in 34mm plating, which obviously does help with survivability. Or even say the King George V class, which does have a lower armoured bout of at least 161mm plus. Now, when it comes to the Collingwood, the bow and the stern is pretty typical for the tier, with that 25 to 26mm plating being able to be overmatched by 15-inch and above armor-piercing shells. So that part of the ship is not too unique, I guess you could say. The superstructure being consistent of 15 to 16 millimeter plating and being very large, it has all the traits of a battleship superstructure for the tier and is very much in keeping with the superstructure of the Nelson. If you're familiar with the Nelson, you'll be familiar with this superstructure, so we can take that away. She's got a lower torpedo bulge of only 26 millimeters. I think the Nelson does have that as 34 millimeters as well, so that is one thing to mention. But the reason why I guess they've done that is because it is part of the armoured belt. But you can see that obviously the torpedo bulge does cover the Citadel, and yeah, we'll talk about the Citadel shortly. Now, the upper armoured bout and the deck armour is 25mm, which is definitely different to the Nelson. However, is rather in keeping in comparison to the Duke of York and the King George V. So it's not entirely unique, I guess you could say. But I think it's unique in this combination with the Citadel, especially. The reason being is that at least Duke of York and King George V have a very low in the water Citadel. It has been recently raised above waterline, but it is still very low. Whereas the Collingwood is going to have a very high sitting Citadel, which means it's going to be easier to hit. Furthermore, the Duke of York and the King George V does have a thicker, lower armoured belt in comparison to Collingwood, which means at least the lower part of it can kind of tank the shells, I guess you could, if you're angled. Whereas with Collingwood, that armour lower is going to get hit, which means you are going to have to use your Citadel in order to ricochet any shells, which means you will be taking damage. Taking away the upper armoured bout and the deck armour, it leaves us with the Citadel. The Citadel is pretty much in keeping in comparison to the Nelson. It is long, it is big, and it is above the waterline. So you're going to have to bear in mind that if anyone with 15-inch or 16-inch guns shoots you through the bow, they're going to be coming straight into your Citadel. So offering that up is going to be dangerous. Close quarters, you're going to have to be very careful with your angling. You angle a bit too much one way, you're going to get slapped through into the Citadel from the broadside. You angle too much the other way, they're going to target nice and forward and slap you in the Citadel underneath the Alpha turret. So please bear that in mind. It is a very boxy Citadel as well, and it's very predictable where it is, so it's going to be easily found. Turrets. The barbettes going all the way down to the Citadel, which is pretty common. It's quite nice to have this. It means there's no chance of being detonated, I guess you could say, by someone targeting an unarmoured ammunition storage facility on your ship, I guess you could say. If taking away the Citadel, turrets are very chunky armour. Not really too much to say here. It is standard turrets armor scheme, I guess you could say. So when it comes to the armor scheme, I think the big thing that is going to stand out, it's not necessarily that any part of the ship is unique in regards to armor scheme, but I think it's a combination of that thin upper armored bout and deck in combination with the very high sitting Citadel. I think it's that combination which is detrimental and potentially unique for the Collingwood, especially in regards to her comparison to the other British battleships at the tier. I will try and catch up with the chat as we go through. Good evening, and everyone was eternal. But what I might do, I might just continue pushing through this as much as I can, and then I'll probably give the chat a good catch up before we chuck it out into a game. Statistics is basically in-game playing statistics, and yeah, you can basically confirm I have not played this ship yet, so therefore apart from looking at the stats and other things like that, I haven't really been able to make myself a informed opinion about this ship as yet. Moving on to the specs. Couple of things to note. The torpedo damage reduction of 25% is actually quite reasonable for the tier, quite good actually. I think Nelson's only got a 19% torpedo reduction. So you are better than Nelson there. Hit points is 58,500. I think that is less than Nelson, so that is something to bear in mind. The reason why I'm doing the comparison to Nelson is because I think Nelson's been in the game for a very long time. I want to say January 2020 was when Nelson was introduced to the game. So a lot of people are probably familiar with Nelson, probably a lot of people already have Nelson, and therefore are going to be thinking, well, if I've already got Nelson, why do I want Collingwood? And if you haven't got Nelson, I guess it's worth mentioning that Nelson is on sale this week. However, do what you wish with your own money. I'm not saying buy it. I'm not saying, well, I kind of would say don't buy it, but that's more because I'd be like advising you to be sensible with your money, I guess you could say. Artillery wise, she has those 419mm main battery guns, only a 47% fire chance with 6,150 HE shell damage, reload of 26 seconds, 180 degree turret traverse of 45 seconds, main battery range of 16.9. Most of these stats generally seem quite, in comparison to the other British battleships, satisfactory, I guess you could say. Maximum AP shell damage of 13,000. So in comparison to Nelson, she probably does have a little bit more, maybe very similar, I guess you could say, stats for the shells. The reload, I want to look into it a bit more, I guess you could say. They're trying to say she's got a good reload, but I've done comparisons to my commanders, other ships with commanders, and the reload just seems to be competitive but not amazing. We'll have to see if that comes down a bit when I maybe want to stick a commander on there. AA defense is pretty poor. Nelson's AA defense is pretty poor as well. The reason being is this is a very early war AA build. And this is circa 1940, so yes, we do have some 20mm Ehrlichien on there, some 40mm two pom-poms, I guess you could say, and there is the 120mm dual-purpose anti-aircraft guns, but generally you're not spitting out a lot of AA, and you don't really have a lot of it, honestly. Maneuverability seems reasonable. Your speed's higher than Nelson. Rudder shift seems acceptable. Turning circle seems to be acceptable as well. So turning circle of 800 meters, rudder shift of 14.8, speed of 27 knots. Speed does seem quite nice on this one. Concealment 13.7 by sea seems quite reasonable. Bear in mind you will be most likely putting on the concealment module in this case. Text speed when firing smoke is 14.3. So ironically, yeah, when you're firing your guns, it's going to bloom out quite large, and smoke is not going to make much of a difference when it comes to its detectability. Text speed from air is also 11.5 kilometers, so quite large, but then she is a large ship. So I think most of the stats seem, there's nothing exciting, at least from a brief overlook, I guess you could say. Loadout of the ship, obviously she has the AP and the HE shells. I suspect it is going to be British short fuse armor piercing shells, just because. So bearing that in mind, obviously. Damage control, 15 seconds duration, 80 seconds reload, that's pretty generic. The heel is quite a strange one. It's not as good as Nelson's, but it's not as bad, I guess you could say, as Duke of York, King George V, Hood. It's better than those ships. So you are looking at 584 HP per second for 22 seconds. Based on a bit of a back of the fact packet math, that comes in somewhere between 13 and 14,000 HP per repair party. You do get 3 of these, and it has a 60-second reload. I'm going to skip that one. We'll just move on to this one. Main battery reload booster. So this reduces your main battery reload by 50% for a duration of 20 seconds with 150-second reload. And you do get 2 of these. That's at least you're getting 2. But that seems to be more of the norm nowadays. Not seeing many cases where they give you just 1 like they did with Vanguard when it was initially launched on Vanguard. So getting 2 is quite nice. That might help you get out of a bit of a bother if you need to. Say a destroyer gets too close and you need HE quick, or you got the volley of HE and you want to slap it twice very quickly. So if you take your base reload of 26 seconds, it's going to take it down to 13 seconds. So say you got one in the barrel, you can fire that off, hit this, have another volley in 13 seconds, and then you're going to have the benefit of 7 seconds of the next reload, which means 7 seconds of that would be, say, taking 14 seconds off it. So that means it would take 7 plus 12. I'm doing a bit of back of the fact bracket math here. I want to say 19 seconds for your next volley. So it's not too bad if you are in a sticky situation with a destroyer nearby. Hopefully you shouldn't be in that situation. Now on to the next consumable. Obviously we can pick between two options. There's the main enhanced secondary targeting. So amusingly, even though amusingly, even though they went through this phase where they were going to rename secondary armament anti-torpedo boat guns, ironically, it's still called secondary armament here. It's still called secondary armament here. So, and it's still called secondary battery. So, amusingly, it seems like the word secondary just hasn't gone away, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's a very generic consumable, nothing different there. But you will get 3 of those in comparison to only 2 of the sonar. The sonar has detectability of ships at 4 kilometers, detectability of torpedoes at 3 kilometers, 100 second duration, 180 second reload. Generally, I think I'd rather have the sonar over the enhanced secondary targeting. Collingwood is not going to be in a good situation if she's close quarters. So generally, I think both of these consumables aren't exactly exciting for this ship. However, having the sonar will be more useful over the enhanced secondary targeting, because when it comes to the Collingwood, the secondary is going to be very similar to the Nelson. So there's not a lot to speak of. You've got those 120mm dual-purpose guns firing high explosives, and then you have the 6x2 6-inch guns. They have a range of 5 kilometers. They used to only fire AP until recently, so now they are firing HE. But it's not. You're not going to be pumping out enough shells in order to protect yourself against something. So you're probably better off going with the sonar, because it's going to give you the ability to maybe dodge stuff. Or maybe if you want to flex on a DD and smoke and use your sonar in comparison with in combination with your main battery reload booster. The other one about this sonar, I guess you could say, is by taking the sonar, you put yourself in a better position rather than taking the range of guaranteed acquisition module. So therefore, you're not losing so much in comparison to taking the concealment module in the 3rd slot. So I think that's a nice way to look at it. The sonar means that you don't feel like you're losing anything by taking the concealment module in your 3rd slot. Anyway, flags. Let's just pop something British on. So let's get the gallant flag on. There we go. Right, upgrades. I should bear in mind, when I was talking about the concealment here, that does include the camo. So we could just quickly strip the camo off. Just take a quick peep at that. Yeah, it does make a bit of a difference, but most likely, yeah, most of your ship's IDs should be running camos, and more especially once you play a lot. So upgrades. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the camo. So the camo looks quite reasonable. It definitely looks similar to some camos that I have seen in my resource books, so it doesn't look too fanciful. It does look quite fitting for the ship, especially for the time period as well. Definitely getting early war vibes with it. Anyway, on to the upgrades. So, you've got a couple of options in your 1st slot, but most of the upgrades generally are quite generic for this ship. There's nothing special going on. So, secondary battery I wouldn't bother with because the secondary battery is not that important. The AA I wouldn't bother with because your AA is pretty terrible. Your main battery module 2, reducing your turret traverse speed, although potentially quite useful. Most of the time your guns are just going to be firing over the bow port side of the bow starboard side. So generally, you're not going to be rotating your turrets around 180 degrees. You're going to be just making little traverses, say plus or minus 20 degrees, so a total traverse of 40 degrees. And generally, you're not going to see much of a benefit in that plus 20%. So most likely you probably want to go for the aiming systems module 1. The reason being is that is going to reduce your main battery dispersion, and I'm kind of feeling that Collingwood is going to want to play at range. And if you're going to play at range, you probably want to increase your accuracy as much as possible. And it has a little bit of a buff for your secondary targeting, so secondary battery, I guess you say. So we'll probably go with that. Next up, I think there's a couple of options here, but generally I'm not a fan of damage control systems module 2. Each to your own. My personal opinion is it's just not worth it. So that just leaves propulsion module 2 or steering gears module 2. I'm thinking with Collingwood, I'm probably going to go with rudder, getting in that reduced rudder shift for like a kitey play style, maybe to dodge incoming shells out the back of the map. The acceleration could also be useful, so I think it's really a playstyle thing, and to be honest, it might be even something that I change. So I'm going to start off with rudder shift, and I'm going to maybe consider my options later on. Last but not least, we got the concealment module 2. Module 1 I should say, or the target acquisition systems module 1. This is the thing that affects your range of guaranteed acquisition, which means you'll be able to basically auto detect ships at 3 kilometers rather than 2 kilometers. It also improves your spotting range, so you can see 20% further, so that kind of like counters other people's camos and stuff, and also allows you to spot torpedoes. So it does have some benefits, but I'm thinking with Collingwood, I'm thinking the reducing, I think because you've got the sonar, you're kind of missing out on the benefits of the RGA, really. And I think the concealment benefit to your own ship and incoming dispersion to your own ship is going to be a lot more helpful. So I'm going to start off with that at least. Which means, last but not least, we come to what kind of commander build. Now, I have seen some advice, which is being helpful, I guess you say. So we're probably going to go down the route of what I did with the Marlborough, which is basically focusing everything into accuracy. So we have Andrew Cunningham here lined up. He's inspired by Scharnhorst and Angelo Icciano, and basically the traits here. A flammable cannoneer, I think you could probably swap that out. But it does improve main battery range, and shell grouping. So let's keep flammable cannoneer. I think the risks are worth the benefits there, which is quite nice. Crisscross, because I don't like the impact to the battleship speed. Speed is something, obviously, you know that I am quite focused on. I do like a speedy ship, so I'm not going to take that chance. I'm going to take that little bit of a benefit to the turret traverse there. Marksman, okay, you're losing the rudder shift, but you're gaining rudder shift now because you're taking the module for the rudder. So you've got minus 20 plus 5 rudder shift, so that means you're looking at a total of minus 15 rudder shift, which I think is quite nice. Reaching out XXL, that's going to give us a bit more range, especially in conjunction with flammable cannoneer, so I'm going to take that. And then last but not least, I'm going to take Fight Fire with Fire. Fight Fire with Fire has obviously recently been, I think, buffed a little bit, which is quite nice, and also it does help with countering the risk of catching fire. Okay, you're going to catch fire, but also you're going to take less damage from those fires. So I think that's a nice little trade-off that we can accept. So we are going to put Andrew Cunningham on there. Now I have gone through and I've reviewed everything in regards to just the stats, and almost looking at it from, like, I guess you could call it a desktop study. So we've done that. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat, but before I do that, I'm going to say I'm going to have an open division. The usual silent support. So if you are up for playing alongside, feel free to shout out. But I should also caveat it for anyone who's watching that the whole point of the silent support division is more for community interaction, people who want to play alongside. I do not have any communication with them, and it's basically the division is the equivalent of 3 solo players. So there's no real organisation, I guess you could say. So let's go all the way back to this, as far, see where we got to. I remember IK-Way, there we go, and then it was Tennessee. Before the recent changes, Duke of York was pretty much safe from the chance of Dev Strike. Yeah, Dev Striking of the Duke of York, as Amber Criff found out from North Carolina, it can now happen. Citadel, the King George V, and the Duke of York being ever so slightly higher up, it does mean it can be hit. Hello, Sean. Hello. Jeff Bashew's British. I don't think not buying it was an option. If you are a British ship collector, like myself, and I guess as per Jeff, you will do that. Sean, Collingwood sounds like a British rip-off of Hollywood. I think Collingwood, the name Collingwood it comes from the second in command on HMS Victory under Nelson. So in some regards, I kind of like the name because it's kind of got a gentle nod to the ship of the class, the ship class that this ship is inspired by, I guess you could say, which is obviously the Nelson class battleships. Our crew of the HE is sadly lacking penetration, so in my opinion, it's just a long-range AP ship only, and we're going to give that a go this evening, and hopefully put the wind behind her at least. She got a name from Vice Admiral Cuthbert Collingwood. Sorry, hello. I play King George V, and like I would a heavy cruiser and like a zoomer. Yeah, no, very, very true. I probably do very much the same thing. Very kitey play style. I'm with AP standard fuse, just like Warspite. Ooh, okay. Right, thank you for that caveat. That's interesting to know. Jeff Dave, I have been experimenting with Jericho running fully packed and it's working pretty good. That does sound like a kind of interesting command build. That's one more repair party, one more sonar, one more main battery reload booster. What are you running alongside that in regards to traits? You're running things like maybe concealment, fire chance. I guess you're going to get more repair potential at Jericho's base trait. That's quite an interesting command build, I guess you could say. Our crew's gone for Cunningham, Shishani and Ichano, very much as I have set up here, most likely. They only used the turn once and scrapped it. I have 19.5 kilometers range, over 70.5. She's a very nice shell gripper. Many times 6 shells go through, and big there. I think. Oh, Narco, hello. Let's see how things go. MTCD, hello. Now you just need the modules to add 3 guns and, and a bit more armour, yeah. An extra 419mm gun per turret, please, and a bit more armour. Yeah, no, that would be very true. I dev struck Collingwood with my turrets. Nose in Collingwood's terror. The nose on the Collingwood is the same as the nose in any other tier 6 battleship, so I wouldn't really fault the Collingwood for its nose armour. Anyway. Was anyone kicking around? I'm sure. I know Sack said he was kicking around before the stream. Yeah, so I dropped one invite out there. Not really sure if anyone else is kicking around. I'll give Sax a quick moment, I guess you could say, in order to get sorted. So what we do is we're going to get some other things chucked on this ship as well. I'm going to go for an epic battle boost. The reason being is I'm going to want that main battery range. And yeah, I'm going to need it to be an epic booster in order to do that. Tier 6, I don't necessarily need a credit booster, so I'll put a simple one on. I'm not going to bother with anything else. I think we should be fine in those regards, so we're going to get that sorted. Hello, Mecha Man. Hello. Mecha Man, may I ask a quick question? I've seen that you've shared a message regarding Constellation being spotted in game. Requesting permission to share that post, and while we're waiting for that, I'll get this launched. So we are now into our first game with the Collingwood. We're going to see how do things go, how do things fare, and we're going to try and give it a good couple of games. We've got about an hour and a half of gameplay, which means we should be looking in the region of 4, 5, 6 games. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Benson, York, Suzuki, Plymouth, Nagato, Z10, Tirpitz, Jean Bar. This is a tier 6 and 7 game. The double Jean Bar on the enemy team is definitely a concern. Tirpitz will like to push Plymouth and Suzuki. There's some pretty nasty divisions on the enemy team. Because Suzuki and Plymouth and will strip away any HP, and the Tirpitz will like to flex in. So initially I'm probably going to play this a little bit like a Nelson, but focusing on armor piercing shells, I guess you could say. I'm McCriv. I'm available after dinner, probably the second part of the stream. Oh, no worries. Mecha Man, go ahead. Okay, much obliged. If you want Mecha Man, you could... I'm not sure if you still got the screenshot yourself, whether you want to send the screenshot directly to me, or I can just jump into that big chat, I guess you could say, and grab it. Right, let's see how things go. So obviously we spawned on the left side, so we're going to be focusing on the left flank. Also covering Sax on his approach here. Not really a fan of what our team is doing. That will be a problem, potentially. Two bounces on the Tirpitz. Tirpitz is flexing at the end. Oh, there we go. A little bit of something. But yeah, this is pretty rough. We're sandwiched between the two divisions. Oh, damn. Ooh, double sit down at Suzuki. But yeah, sandwiched between the Jean Bar division, and this is a very nasty division to come up against. A nice 10k volley on the turpits though. $57k. Not going to complain too much, being that's a first game and a very rough division to come up against. Oh, they've also got the Benson in there. Oof. Also, the rest of the team's melting very quickly. House, good evening, good evening. Good to see you, sir. The image should still be in the PSN group chat. You have to scroll and find it. That's no worries, no worries. While Sax is doing that, we'll just bring up. Where is it? I need one of these. This one. There you go. Sorry, there you go. So, one of Mecha Man's game, spotting the Constellation in play. Future tier 7 premium ship. Right. I think Sax kind of threw himself to the sharks there. Unfortunately, we are going to have to wait a little to get the Collingwood back. The valuable stock that we spawned with that's moving over. Iowa over here, Brandenburg, Megami. Okay, don't worry about the Megami. Jean Bar division in the centre. Are they running well to rebuild? I would believe so. This does look like a will to rebuild division. It looks like a division as well that's played this a lot. So they've got this down to a T, this kind of will to rebuild. Although with will to rebuild being nerfed, it'd be interesting to see how that goes. We're down to 3 battleships. The value of stock which has spawned at Alpha and run all the way over here. Brandenburg, which is going to be sucking up a lot of, at least 2 of these torpedoes. Well, maybe just the one. He's been able to manoeuvre that rudder very quickly, very nicely. This Iowa's going to die though. This Iowa is caught in a very nasty crossfire if you think about it. Enemy Zeton just there. Also another cruiser over here. 2 Jean Bars, a Plymouth, and over here. Yeah, we got the turpits. So Brandenburg's going to find himself in a very nasty crossfire. Because no matter which way he turns, he's now going to be offering broadside onto someone. At the moment, he's offering broadside to the 2 Jean Bars and the Plymouth as he turns into these Benson torpedoes, which have been very nicely placed in order to cut off this escape route. That's a very nice play. Right, last but not least, and that's it, all done. Double Jean Bar, they're going to hold hands and tiptoe for the tulips. T-Hawk has a very, very sound comment there. Looking to do a vision as well as Warships on PS. Yeah, no, I can drag you in, kicking and screaming if you wish. The image. That was a lucky GG 1-5, yeah. but still managed to come mid-table, so I'm not going to complain too much. I still did better than a Tier 7 battleship. And a Tier 7 premium battleship. So coming mid-pack in the first game, I'm not going to complain too much about that. Let's get World Warships drafted. And we'll get the Collingwood lined up one more time. And hopefully, fingers crossed, yeah. Getting snookered on both sides is never fun, yeah. Very true. Round to Jean Barn, Brandenburg Division today, still pretty strong. Running Will to Rebuild, oof, nasty. It was the double Brandenburg divisions we used to get back in the day. At least now, Will to Rebuild means that superstructure saturation is not necessarily a thing. Like your team slayed, yeah. I think in a game like that, it's very hard to do well. Showcase a ship very well when your team is, getting slayed like that. I kind of knew things were going to be bad when I started to see things awkwardly, like the centre moving over to the right, and the right was dilly-dallying, things like that. Okay. Interesting. We're going to go for a double DD and a Collingwood division. I see how it goes. Nice. Running Chang, realisation I may have used snookered wrong my entire life. Snookered just basically means you're in a tricky situation. If you want the official termination, snookered means that you do not have direct line of sight between the cue ball and the object ball. Okay, we have a DD heavy game. I guess that's kind of what to expect when you have a DD heavy division, like potentially I guess you say. Another Tier 6 and 7 game. We have an Akatsuki, a Jervis, a Kagero, a Summers, a York, a Suzuyu, a Cleveland, a Snob, and a Nagato. So we have 2 16-inch gun battleships on the enemy team. We have 2 fire-breathing cruisers. York is quite reasonable with AP. Also is bristling with torpedoes. Summers and Kagero and Akatsuki have torpedoes that hit very hard, especially the Summers and the Kagero. And then we have a Jervis. Past me does not wish to push in, but at the same time I feel like I am obliged to. Especially with this kind of DD heavy gameplay, I have sonar to protect myself, so maybe I need to go for it. DJ, hello. And McQuiv, I never forgot when we had a double Tiger Division Major and we cannot hurt the last 2 BBs standing due to bit rotary. That game is something that always comes to mind. I think obviously highlights the issues with Will to Rebuild. Okay, a little 4,245 to start with. Don't think we're going to be catching much out in the centre. No, I'm not going to try that. Kagero. So this is where the maybe actual Reader Booster comes in. So yeah, I've got AP away with the first volley, and it's landed all over the place. But at least we're going to have some HE soon to follow it up, I hope. And there we go. And yep, we've got 13 seconds left in the reload. Can we get this angled in? Okay, putting on the sonar. Hitting the Kagero, getting a fire. We might be able to finish her. Yes, very nice. Right, that is a main battery reload booster. Well used. No complaints here. Now at the moment we're just trying to get the turrets into play. Loose. Get some AP downrange onto the Nagato. PS only matchmaking, I'll never get an Xbox only matchmaking. It could be that potentially one of my division colleagues has matchmaking set to only PlayStation. That looks like a AFK player. So let's test the accuracy. Not super good. Options beard, losing visibility there. Losing visibility on both cruisers. Yeah, what I might do is use a main battery reload booster to see if we can finish off the Suzuki. That's nice grouping. But yeah, even with 419mm guns, they're not essentially doing that well.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
I switched to HE because I thought the DD might have been spotted up here because the Suzuki popped up, but it's not. Maybe we should... Ah, the Suzuki's actually woken up.
Torpedoes to port.
That should be enough to use the damage control and get the heal. Taking a bit of a risk here against the Nagato.
Fire.
Let's see if that super fast reload actually counts for anything. Crumbs. Crumbs. Lots of crumbs. Ah. That's the York. Literary spear. What are we looking at? What's left? We've got Prince Heinrich, Colorado. The black is just gone. We also have a bag ration. Can't remember what the naming convention of that was, but the enemy's lost all DDs. It's only a Suzuki and a Sinop left. Interesting. I knew I should have gotten out there earlier. If you start getting close to the dispersion and shell grouping, will constantly fall apart. Jeff, got the Golden Week skin for the Nagto in the crate yesterday. Love the skin, hate the ship. I'm sure this is their intention to try and promote ships that players don't like, is to obviously put a camo out there to make you want to play them. I also sometimes wonder if the ships that are chosen as part of the Bureau projects for each new Bureau project that comes out are deliberately chosen in order for them to increase the gameplay of ships that they are reviewing. Because I've noticed that Fiji has been popping up a lot in Bureau projects, and I wonder if it's just their way of encouraging players to play ships which they have either tweaked or have under scrutiny for potential further tweaking. Things like the Zara also have been popping up very frequently. I'm Crib. I'm off for about 10 minutes. Be back. Good luck. Not much lunch, Crib. Vaz, good evening. Good evening, Vaz. I hope you're well. What is this Z10 doing? It's like a big slap through the nose, thanks to 16-inch armor-piercing shells from the Snop. You do have torpedoes, right? You going to use them? Or you're just going to drive by on the Snop, which is fair enough because the Snop does have a very elevated citadel. Well, for those who don't know, Constellation is a representation of the Lexington-class battlecruisers that United States Navy would have built if not constrained by the Washington Naval Treaty. Jeff, I think you are right, Major. There are a lot of ships that I only play due to the Bureau project requirements. Yeah, it's a sneaking suspicion I've had lately. Second on the team. Not going to complain, not going to complain. Righto. That's 2 games in the Collingwood. We've had a 4th place on the losing team, 2nd place on the winning team. We got some nice citadels on the Suzu in the first game, and also on a broadside Nagato as well. Yes, that's some pay to win. We have a Belfast and a Z35 in the division. That is certainly some pay to win. Riposte. Riposto, I should say. Or riposte. Riposte. Let's go riposte. Oh, it's a carrier game. Not the kind of game you want to be in a Collingwood with. Minsk, Jervis, Friesland, Fletcher, York, Prince Heinrich, Collingwood, Lexington. Not a bad game. Some, I think 15-inch guns, 16-inch guns. The destroyers are obviously... Destroyers are always going to be the bane of a battleship's existence. That goes without saying. Like, whether there's 1 destroyer or 4 destroyers, it's still the bane of a battleship's existence. But then that's the whole purpose of their design. It being a carrier game, it's not going to be nice for the Collingwood. The anti-aircraft rating on this ship is pretty poor, and it is a tier 6 and 7 game again. Sean, is the Collingwood worth getting? We are still testing this ship at the moment. I'm still trying to form an opinion. At the moment, I am still indifferent to the ship. So I have to see. So Sax, I dropped. You okay? You dropped out during that combat, did you? Faz, I've been suffering through a lot of tier 7 matches solo due to Bureau. Usually takes me all night just to get 2 tier 7 wins. Oh no, we are detected. We are broadside on. This is one of the downsides of a tier 6 and 7 game. So I'm going to try and get this angled in, which is a little bit risky.
Enemy force detected.
close to the end of this situation. In fact, we might just bring it back. Let's just line up a third notch and see what we can get with an AP here.
All stations reporting the position of a strategic target.
Ooh, that is not a nice way to start a game, is it, York? Well, we definitely chewed up that. I'm going to go for the Colorado. If that Colorado goes more broadside, that's it. I'm going to use my battery reload booster. Looks like we've got a Jervis here, judging by the torpedoes. Neptune's Beard, I did not want to be losing visibility of that Colorado right now. Damn. Jervis gone, very nice. That York is still alive somehow. Saxman just detonated the Minsk. Nice. Let's... oh, engine's knocked out. Let's try that. Hopefully he's dead before... yeah, nice. Back to AP. Let's start positioning ourselves in order to engage the other flank. Doubt the Colorado is going to be around long enough. Gone. Okay. York is still alive. Bit of right rudder just to make sure that we unveil Q turret. Take a bit of a slapdash guess at where she's going to be. And loose off the shells. Not quite. Oh, we did actually get a hit on the York. We have got a main battery reload booster coming up. Funny to see Uncle Sam in a German ship. Let's get this angled in. Looks like Sax is already trying to find the carrier. Oh, that's a wrap. That game was over far too quickly. Actually, if you love Nelson and would enjoy a Nelson or slightly different flavour, also you make $150 hourly rate at the day job. Oh, I don't think there's, to be honest, like there's 800 points between last place and first place on our team. It's just one of those games where we just rolled over the enemy team. Ironically, the only ship that actually died on our team was a Nelson. Yeah, that is rough. It's just one of those games where like no one really gets their teeth in. It's kind of like one team just charges into the slaughterhouse. Yeah, I think with Collingwood, I'm not exactly amazed or stunned or impressed by the ship, but at the same time, I'm not disappointed or frustrated or annoyed. It just, to me, it seems like just an overall okay ship. Nothing special, nothing terrible. But I'll just jump out for a game. Oh, fair enough. Try starting the game of HE, Major. Go on then. Let's try starting the game of HE.
Let's get to it.
Just okay ship equals well balanced. That is true. That is true. Why is the album activated his radar? Anti-sonar. Why? I too like to live my life dangerously. Right, okay, we're in the middle. Wait, we've got this going on. Let's get this done. I'm not a fan of this kind of play style, but I think we're going to have to do it. One shatter with the high explosive shells. Both enemy battleships are spotted, so it's, I guess as long as we stay angled to that, we should do alright. What am I doing? I'm just going to switch to AP because I want to. Because the HE's only done 3,000 damage, no fires. I'm just seeing this opportunity where these ships are broadside on. Yeah, you're getting more of it. What a strange game. What's your plan, Indianapolis?
Всем, кто меня слышит, защищайте указанный корабль.
Oh, nice. Okay, let's just lose the Minsk. Minsk versus ZU.
Поставьте дым завесу.
Hipper, that should be able to tank my shells, so maybe I'm just going to have to go with against the Minsk here.
Так точно. Поставьте дым завесу.
Damn.
Torpedoes dead ahead. Our team has taken the lead. Поддержите союзный корабль.
Is this going to work? This is a really risky play.
Alle Stationen brauchen Feuerunterstützung.
Come on.
Fire.
Bit more of a quicker on the speed, and I could have done it. Well, I think I would have still eaten it, but needed to get rid of that DD. Hipper's going to be gone. Let's jump aboard with Sachs.
Has taken the lead.
Sean, he wanted to see his name light up. How's all the grinding through the Devonshire and Surrey to get the Albemarle just so you can press all the buttons? Can't believe those two brownies just kept saying broadside to all the blue team BBs. Yeah, no, that was the thing. Like, I just started off with HE, and I was like, okay, yeah, I start with HE. And I was just then presented this like AP target. I was like, oh, I've got to go back to AP. From what I've seen this week, Jeff, I believe that perhaps it is a crisp factory this week, or a chips factory this week if you're from the United States. What they got left? The Melfi and the Kaga. Zeton's gone. But we've got so many ships on the table, it should be okay. So let's just jump back on board with Sachs. Let's just jump on board with our carrier briefly. He's also flying a Kaga. He's currently searching. You've just recalled your aircraft. I thought you were trying to find the enemy carrier. Looks like it's going to be a very quiet game, I think, for the rest of it. not too certain what our carrier's doing, but Sax is getting the cap, which is the main thing, really. Hey, Command Major, I recently picked up this South Atlantic asset pack for the hyper-realistic flight sim DCS world, which includes the now decommissioned British carrier HMS Invincible. Does that mean you'll be flying Sea Harriers? Oh, it does sound kind of interesting. Kanga's actually in range, is she? It seems really weird. Like, I can understand what Sax is doing. I can't understand what the rest of our team's doing. The Suzuki's a bit stuffed. Okay, I give it that. The Albemarle, I don't necessarily have the greatest faith in because he just smashed all the buttons to start with. So either they wanted to see it all light up, or they've got fat fingers. I'm not too sure. Sausage fingers. The Cleveland here. Okay, I have a bit of faith in the Cleveland. Yeah, the Cleveland's positioning. It's not too bad. Sax I've got faith in. I trust Sax. I've played with him long enough. Fellow of his stock, 16-inch gun battleship, but he's not pushed. The thing, the Battle of his stock's not pushing the Amalfi. He's chasing after the carrier, which is a weird one. And the carrier's only started to move away. Sax has got to watch himself against this carrier, as it is a Katka. It does have the ability to chuck out a lot of torpedoes or drop some very tight cluster bombs. This could hurt. There you go. So yeah, the carrier is quite dangerous to destroy. Sax switching to AP there. Carrier seems to be turning back towards Sax in order to bring secondaries into range. There's some bodies coming in. There you go. So let's see what's going on over here with the Amalfi. It's Cleveland versus Amalfi, plus the cargo's chipping in. The Amalfi's pretty much stuffed, I think. If the Cleveland loads up AP, not quite yet. To be honest, the Amalfi's going to burn up, and that's going to be game. There we go. The Harrier module that is available in DCS World is the AV-8B Harrier 2. Jeff, it's been a good week to roll out the Hayate. Lots of shimmers are being played by people who don't know how to use them. I came third that game. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine playing Hayate is actually quite devilishly fun. Because yeah, if people are playing shimmers and they don't know how to use them, or they're playing shimmers and they're just sticking to torpedoes, playing a reasonable gunboat DD to hunt and seek and destroy. Yeah, that's like taking candy from a baby. Atlantic, capture the base. Kansas, Richelieu, North Carolina, Eisenhower, Prince Heinrich, New Orleans, Z23, Loadout, Ognevoy, Spawning, Right Flank, Tier 6 and 7 games. So we haven't had any Tier 6 and 5 games, interestingly. I'm going to go back to AP. I kind of feel the AP's more worthwhile with the Collingwood than the HE. At least when I've tried the HE, I haven't exactly had marvellous results out of it, unless it's been against DDs and stuff like that. So this time let's try almost what we did last time, but hopefully not get rogered by a very capable division in very capable ships. So it's Axis, he loves babies candy. Oh god. Pretty rough matchmaking tonight. Early morning I got 5 and 6s. Not really too sure why the Richelieu's insisting that I retreat. 2 enemy battleships spotted over at the left flank. Well, yeah, our left flank, I guess you could say. 1 battleship spotted over here somewhere, so we're going to get guns trained and ready for that. Enemy DD spotted, Loadout. That is going to be more priority target. Switching to HE. Okay, using the main battery reload booster now in order to try and get those shells ready quicker. Fortunately, these ranges is a bit. That one. Damn, he's moved. Sax is not in a good position here because he's got Lo Yang and Z23, both of which have very aggressive sonar. We've got a good Eisenhower. Not quite there yet. We got quite a distance to go if we want to try and use our sonar to fish out these DDs. But I suspect the Richelieu's not going to push in. I'm not close enough to make the engagement. My build is 49% fire chance, so it works quite well with HE, then to switch to AP when the distance closes. Oh.
Torpedoes direct front.
So yeah, we're quite heavily extended here. Not really too sure what's going to be the best way out of this one. There you go, Kansas. Not really too much I could do about that. Because even if I sat back here, I probably still would have got picked out and still ended up with the Z23 at close quarters. Well, let's break things up a little bit then. Maybe we'll take out one of us. Well, being that game's got quite a lot of legs in it. Let's just take out the Nelson for comparison. 19.5 kilometers range. Still 20-second, 6-second reload. Collingwood's not a frontline fighter, that's for sure. That is true. The problem is, if no one else fights the front, I'm one of those people. If no one else fights the front line, you watch your team just collapse because no one pushes. So yeah, Collingwood's not a frontline fighter, and ideally you do want some other ships in front of you. The problem is if no one on your team really does that, you end up being damned if you do and damned if you don't. I mean, CD, she really can't protect herself from any BB caliber guns 50 and up. Oh yeah. right flank is evenly balanced, left flank is evenly balanced, centre is evenly balanced. Tier 6 and 7 games: Sakane, Benson, Udachi, Mayuku, New Orleans, Plymouth, Nelson, Colorado, Tirpitz. I think Nelson is just a better ship overall. Yeah, no, I think in that regard, yes. You have to kind of remember the reason why Collingwood is introduced, or well, initially produced by Wargaming, is because Nelson is deemed to be too strong over on World Warships PC, so they had to stop selling the ship, and therefore but wanted to introduce something similar, so that's why Collingwood was reduced. So Collingwood was originally reduced as a, I guess, as a nerfed premium version of the premium Nelson, which seems like a really weird way to go about it. I mean, if you really didn't like the way, if you thought Nelson was overpowered and you wanted to introduce a Nelson type ship, why not just tweak a Nelson and bring in Rodney? Yeah, so Collingwood compared to Nelson, Nelson's got the better repair party, Nelson has the better armour scheme, Nelson does have a larger broadside weight because she has 9 16-inch guns rather than 6 16.5-inch guns. So yeah, I think Nelson does have a lot more going for it in comparison to Collingwood. At least at the moment. However, things are always subject to change. That's Wargaming's way. So you never quite know with the Collingwood what might be subject to change. Might they increase her lower armoured belt thickness, for example? Or could they reduce her main battery reload time? Yeah, at the moment there's not exactly too much in favour for the Collingwood. Lost ability, so that last volley is a bit of a scatter shot. Harrier was a marvel of British engineering, but yeah, and also it was rejected by the Americans. That's my favourite bit about it. Major, we need a steel push car to the front of to the front of Collingwood. That would protect us. Where the hell did those shells land? MTCD, they shouldn't have taken the bout armor off of her. Everything else would be fine. Yeah. In some regards, I kind of agree with you.
Enemy battleship detected.
Yeah, that HE off of Nelson is just so much better. Oh, oops. Oh, lucky. Maybe not so lucky. Yeah. there as well. Lovely.
Problem solved, sir. Our team has taken the lead. Enemy destroyer blown up.
Melissa, hello. Sick Master Club as well. Drake was kind of disappointing, but now I just really hope for the Goliath. I didn't really find Drake disappointing. I find Drake actually quite strong. I do have a very hard, very H-y fire chance focus. Oh, I'm stuffed. Where's Benson torpedoes? Let's try and minimize how many we take. Let's see if we can get it down to 3. No, 4. That's what we get. Well, hopefully Collingwood's back now and we can take out back up for a spin. Chang, can't be argued. The consumable suite of the Collingwood is much more useful. Yes, I would give you that. However, with the repair party being nerfed, I think that's definitely to her detriment. I still came 4th on my team with only 7,000 damage. Oh, there must be some really rough teams out there tonight. Oh. Waiting illustrious or Donald, to be honest. Amakriv's still waiting for Dido. The Buccaneer was the best strike aircraft ever built. I do like the look of the Buccaneer, I'll give you that. Burhouse, I love the "we sprung a leak" line when you opened up a few torpedoes. Alright, carry again. Whoopity-doo. Tier 5 in 6 game. The first one of the evening. Mahan, Akatsuki, Nagato Division. Bayern, New Mexico, Nagato, Furious. So we've got some 14-inch guns. Good news! Our armour will actually be sufficient to do something against that. 16-inch guns, bad news. Furious with HE bombs. Oh, goody. And our terrible AA. We're going to have to see how this goes. Still missing the leak animation. PC is superior that way. Oh, the water flooding in at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. Right, let's try and get this big girl into a reasonable position. Oh, good lord. Come on, I want to finish this turn. New Mexico, Nagato. Strange. What's going on here then? Looks like we just got a Bayern rushing in. New Mexico behind. Potentially something else also moving over this way, as we have got a 3 battleships moving in. No, sir, considering that ARC's 4 days of terror put the Americans on the run, they had to break their own rules to do it. Considering the ARCs. Ah, okay. Regarding the Buccaneer, I think. We're going to be coming under quite a bit of pressure, aren't we? I would like to work this Bayern over. Okay, damn. Now I need to be able to have visibility on the New Mexico's in the middle, which I don't have. Not too sure what our carrier's doing. Has our carrier actually launched any aircraft? Enemy DD spotted. Mahan. Okay, switch to HE. Let's see if we can assist. Mahan's turning out. I think it's going to land astern. Yeah. Neptune's beard. This is when 1978 we got asked to test the US defences against a single CV, and we beat up their naval base and their National Guard along with a few international airports. Dolores reminds me of some of the war games that the Americans have gone into, like against, say, I think the Swedish electric subs. During war games, have actually sunk American carriers because the Americans can't find them. So I think this is going to be very much the kind of, this is where Collingwood's going to feel good, because with this armour scheme and 419mm guns, she's going to be quite effective at this tier. But at the moment, I'm a little bit too broad. This is the kind of situation where Collingwood's going to shine. Because against tier 5 battleships, she's going to be quite strong. Collingwood, king of tier 5, yes. I think that is going to be the kind of situation where Collingwood's going to shine quite nicely. 419mm guns means that you're going to overmatch a lot of the tier 5 battleships, and with 25mm plating or 26mm plating armour, you're going to be capable of actually angling against a lot of the tier 5 battleships because they're only going to have 14-inch guns. Or 13.5. Which ain't yay, lots more radar these days, and of course carriers, yay. Oh. Megaman, I am excited for the Dash to be released to Global XP, and thankfully I have enough to acquire it, 1.7 million. Oof. Jeff says, I admit I'm torn. I have been saving for the album, but yet Dacia is so tempting. Okay, I just washed the target there. Udachi's quite power up nowadays. She was fine at the ongoing release, but now she has twice the amount of gunboats and light cruisers since, yeah. Might just damage con that one fire, because at the moment we're taking a lot of damage. We need more. We need to get more of our HP back. Yeah, she's quite boring to play, and then you get radared or sonared by something and die in seconds. Not much fun anymore. Melissa, we were going to see, during the day, and in US territory wars at night. What's refueling? Get some weird results here against the Nagato. Not really liking that I got another Nagato on my broadside. The only thing I can think of is to turn into that Nagato. Something like this, but that's not really a good situation because of the island. This might be one of the most reasonable games, but that's because it's been tier 5 and 6. So yeah, I've been very much the king of tier 5 and 6. Z35 is on my Christmas list, yeah, I wouldn't blame you. And recently I think someone worked out that even though they nerfed Bay, you can still have super concealed German DDs by using shear. Where is the Nagato? There is the Nagato. Oh, okay, this is a very dangerous situation. This is not where you want to be in a Collingwood. It's very dangerous. This is where you will die very quickly if you come up against a player that knows exactly what they're doing. And for that, I am scared. Thankfully, game's over. Also nerfed Eirik Bay with buff von Spee. Now the German stealth DD builds are better than the Japanese. That was exactly what I was alluding to. King of tier 2, well, 5 and 6. That is very much what Collingwood is. We got time for one more. We get this crate open though. There's a Bing. What can I do here? Nothing. Right, one last game. MCCD, saved by the bell. Very true, very true, very true. Oh. Apologies, Warships life. Unfortunately, this will be the last game, so. Las Vegas, when I first got Udachi, I used 7km Screamer Torps. Was good fun for a short time, yeah. Whereas I think nowadays most people are going to be forced to use the longer range torpedoes because of the situation you're in. Apologies, Warships life. But we will be streaming again on Friday, same time I hope, and that stream we won't be focusing on single ship. Yeah, that can be buffed now, up to 8.5 kilometers. I'm only at 8.2. That'll be using Gleaves, I guess. Looks like a tier 5 and 6 game. I haven't done the shipping forecast. I'm not exactly a fan. I need to, if I do that, what we're looking at: Genevi, Japard, Mass, Benham, Nuremberg, California, New Mexico, Nagato, Strasbourg. It's not a bad game. Not a bad game for what is the king of tier 5 and 6. I got 1 pen for no damage. How do you get a pen for no damage?
Fire.
That was just a generally horrible opening pair of volleys to the game. Oh, Neptune's beard. We've got a situation in the middle here. New Mexico, Nuremberg, and the broadside California. Nope, I'll leave that alone.
das Ziel konzentrieren.
Our team has taken the lead.
Enemy cruisers.
Victory is in sight.
I think we'll live with this. No, Nuremberg's dead. That just leaves the California. This is the enemy team's just folded up really quickly here. There's a lot of these games where they seem to be very one-sided. Hit a turret, yeah, most likely. With the pen and no damage. You're probably going to burn up, aren't you? Oh no, you're still alive. I don't... No, I can't draw a line of sight. Time to engage the California. Are you running Antonio Ichano or her? Yes, I am at the moment. I think that's all, folks. As soon as the Strikers work's dead, which will be now, the game's over. There you go. So yeah, Collingwood. Nothing special, honestly. It is what it is. I'd say it's just a balanced tier 6 ship. It has some benefits, it has some drawbacks. In comparison to Nelson definitely is a better ship. I would probably quite happily pick Hood and Nelson over the Collingwood. I'd probably put it on the same level. For me, I'd put it on the same level as probably the King George V and the Duke of York, and like how much I'd want to play it. She is definitely king of tier 5 and 6. With those 418s and that armor scheme, she kind of can do it. In where she faces off against a lot of tier 5 battleships, she's quite survivable. Against tier 7s, it gets a bit tricky. It's all a bit swings and roundabouts, I think, with this ship. I'd probably just say it's just a well balanced ship. It's balanced enough, like, not to love it but not to hate it. I'm kind of undecided on it. I could probably just quite happily play it. I wouldn't say I'd look forward to it, but I wouldn't be annoyed about it. It's almost like it was just a tech tree ship, I guess you could say. What's all this stuff from anyway? Yeah, so Collingwood, she's got some things going for her. Probably the gun caliber, the consumable suite is a bit nicer. She's got some things going against her, which is going to be the low gun count and the armor scheme. But yeah, I'd honestly say she just feels balanced. I think too often people expect a premium ship to be all singing, all dancing, better than the tech tree. And that's not what Collingwood is. Collingwood is very much something. She is something different. She does offer something different. She offers a very different hull in comparison to some ships, very different gun arrangement and things like that. But she does it without all the bells and whistles. So does that mean that she's a worthwhile? Is she worth buying? Well, a lot of people expect to be getting something more when they pay for something. It doesn't matter how much Wargaming tries to say this game is not pay to win, and it doesn't matter how much the community say we are against pay to win. At the end of the day, the community is pro pay to win. The reason being is because they want to pay for something more. It's just human nature. So unfortunately, it doesn't really matter how much you try and say pay to win's not a thing. It is a thing. The player base wants it because that's what they kind of expect when they get a premium ship. Even if it's just a little bit. Obviously, there's a certain amount of excessive pay to win. We all had that with the Vimer, and there's a few other ships out there. But yeah, the player base kind of does expect pay to win. So is this ship worth it? If you're expecting a ship to be pay to win, this is not it. I would say this is very much like it's the Tiger of the battleships. You know, it's nothing. It's not amazing. But it's not terrible. It's just very well balanced, I kind of feel. And can you hold that as a detriment to the ship, saying the ship's well balanced, therefore it's terrible? I don't think you can. So my general impressions on it is what it is. It's not amazing. I wouldn't say go out there and buy it. But at the same time, I wouldn't say steer clear of it. I just say, just bear in mind, what do you expect from a ship when you're making that purchasing decision? If you're a collector like myself and you're collecting, say, all the premium ships, or you're collecting all the ships of a certain nation, is getting Collingwood worth it? Yeah, I think so. There's definitely some unique things here. She's definitely playable. You can have fun in her. She does have some quirky traits, which are quite nice. I think that's if that's what you're looking for, a bit of difference, a bit of something to break it up in an evening or something, or you just want to play something just to challenge yourself. Yeah, that's what this ship's for. But if you're buying ships for the purpose of going out and giving Jerry a good old thrashing in 6 of the best, Collingwood's not going to do that. So that's going to be my summary of the Collingwood. I think it's just a very well balanced premium. She can do some things, she can't do some things, but should you get her? I think it's up to you. I, as a collector, am I disappointed with my purchase? And I have had to purchase this one because I'm no longer a CC. Am I disappointed? No, not really. No, I'm satisfied. I could quite happily play this in between a couple of other ships during an evening. Anyway, that is the Major's down-to-earth summary of this ship. I hope you have enjoyed this live stream. We have tried to mix it up a bit here and there. Obviously we are focusing on a single ship, but we will be back on Friday for a typical Friday night live stream. And for those of you who are interested, it is what is it? It's 23 days until I fly out to Japan, so we've only got 23 more days until I disappear for 2 weeks. So as of Friday, it'll be 3 weeks to go. I do wonder when my last stream would be before I fly out. Anyway, let's have a look and catch up with the chat, but I think I've already read most things. Many thanks, MTCD. Many thanks. Boathouse, honest review so far. There we go. That's what I try to aim to do, I guess so. Well, every ship being meta breaking, wargaming would really be the predatory monster. People tag it as. Yeah, that's very true. Well said. Many thanks, Summer Crew. Mega Man Collingwood is a side grade. Yeah, very true. Very true. Almost like it's just a thing there. Could she have better armor? Sure. Could she have faster reload? Sure. Will wargaming buff this thing? I don't know. I could potentially see them being slightly interested in tweaking the ship a little bit, but I don't know what they would tweak. I don't think they touch the armor. I don't think they want to do that. They might touch shell velocity and shell damage, maybe fire chance. I could see those being tweaked, maybe. Alternatively, maybe the repair party being tweaked a little bit could be something that we might see. But honestly, I don't really think Wargaming needs to tweak it too much. In fact, I'd say it's very well refined. Ryan Chang, many thanks. Oh, thank you. I agree with it. It's good for skill players to spend their free time, but it's frustrating for regulars when they expect something for their money. Yeah, very true. Have fun and take care. Have fun. You too. I agree with you too. It's just another edition is what you're saying. Yes. There. Very true. Right. I always like to go through the chat and say thank you to everyone who has come along. Actually, Algrove. An option just like Queen Elizabeth versus Warspite and KG5 versus Duke of York. Yes, but I feel like Duke of York does offer something more in comparison to King George V. Obviously, at its own compromises. Warspite definitely offers something more in comparison to Queen Elizabeth. I would say... trying to think. Collingwood just almost feels like when you get a premium version of a tech tree ship and they didn't change anything. That'd be it. Well, so you definitely didn't try to sell it, just an honest to God review, yeah. Well, thanks. Right, as always trying to say, I like to always go through the chat and say thank you to everyone. So I'd like to say thank you to Admiral Crew, to Jeff Dave, to the IK Way, to a name that was Eternal, to Soulboy B, to Salty Sax, to Randy Chang. Also thank you to MTCD and Nariko and Boathouse, much obliged. Also I'd like to say thank you to Vaz Vegas and DJ and T-Hawk as well, many thanks. I'm sure we had someone else pop by. I can't remember the name now. I've got to try and fish out. Many thanks to Mecha Man. And Melissa Smith as well. Many thanks. Also, Stickmaster Celeb, or Caleb, I guess actually. Many thanks. And I believe that is everyone who popped by. So, as usual, I should do the YouTube shilling. Obviously, give it a thumbs up and all that glorious YouTube shilling, I guess you could say. And look after yourself. Stay safe, stay well. Have a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and a good night wherever you are in the world. And I'll catch you on Friday, fingers crossed. Stay safe, stay well. And until next time, I'm the Gareth Major. And back to the port.
This is London calling in the overseas service of the British Broadcasting Corporation.
I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.